Yo, I want to chill right now.
You're disrespecting me in a public forum right now. You realize that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want that to be the goal of the podcast, for somebody to let go of their worries in the world and listen to us.
This is my new look, Daddy David. Daddy David.
Born to procreate. Born to procreate. Yeah, that better make it in the intro.
Nah, probably not.
Hey, Lou, everybody. All right.
Halo.
Halo, bro. We are playing Halo.
Oh,
Jesus, God.
Oh,
Hello.
Oh.
Yeah, let's just start over.
Yeah.
No, keep this shit.
We're going. All right. Hey,
All right, we're
hello,
going.
everybody, and welcome to episode 79 of the Unboxing Life podcast. We are here talking about Cells at Work Season 2,
but
getting that review and discussion in for everybody. But before that, I got my men here with me, Mr. Ew.
What's good, everybody? I'm lactic acid bacterium,
Very nice, very helpful.
also known as good bacterium.
Well, I see why you guys are friends now, because we have I Like Good Bacteria in here.
hey, Trevor, I like you, buddy. I like you.
Hey, bro.
I'm gonna do a.
Are you in the small intestine or the large intestine?
I don't know, whichever the show said I was in.
Cool, bro.
Yeah, that one. And I have a bit later on in the podcast about good bacteria that I'm gonna do along with my
Nice.
facts. So
Great.
I mean, spoilers ahead for where your cells are at and the anatomy of the human body, and
Where your
Nah.
cells are at.
yeah,
Spoilers
and
for that.
of course we got freaking regulatory cuck cell.
That is right. I'm here,
goddamn.
and I'm cucking. Making sure the cuck is regulated.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
also a pseudo spoiler. I like it.
yeah, nice.
A good
That is
reference.
true.
Yeah, spoilers ahead, everybody. So, and I
We're
am
also cells at work.
cells at work. Just show title. But
Cells,
I love it, man.
cells a twerk. Goodness. I didn't realize how you
Yeah,
spelled it and
definitely
everything
cells
as
a
well. That's a good little bit that I wanted to bring in. When they always say, "What the cell is this? What the cell is going on?"
Yeah, instead of what the hell.
Instead of
oh, I
what the
didn't
hell.
even notice that. What
Yeah,
the
they-
heck?
Oh, you didn't?
Yeah,
Did
they
you watch
they
it?
do it a
Sub or
good
dub?
like.
I watched Dub actually. So.
I only had
Yeah.
Okay, so
the
that's
sub
only in
available to
Funimation,
me.
right? Or
Yeah.
did you find it somewhere else?
Yeah, I think it was just Funimation.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm
Dang.
kind of... We'll get into it later. Let's
Yeah.
get to...
All right, yeah.
What do we have to do, David?
Let's get into our traditions real quick, everybody. Let's get a freaking. I feel like I always go joke first, so I gotta mix it up. I'll go with the freaking quote.
Oh?
Yeah.
D
All
rank.
right. I'm not used to going first. I'm a little flustered, everybody. Sorry. So I got a really quick one, and it's kind of it's fitting because I need to give her more shine because this season she kind of got a little cucked.
True.
And I'm talking about Red Blood Cell. Red Blood Cell is
True.
like nowhere to be found in this season,
It is true.
like at all.
Hmm.
So she actually ends the season, and I spent the last like couple minutes just like looking for the quote that I found, and it's the wonderfulness. She says, "Thank you for waiting. Here's your oxygen for the day," and it's like it just gives me life every time she does it because like that's like her entire job, right? And that was what season 1 was pivoted on, was her lack of navigation skills and always having to be picked up with her slack with other cells and all that. And she's basically non-existent in this season, so I wanted to give her a little shine. So shout out to Red Blood Cell.
Nice.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
she's super on the sidelines for sure.
Yes. Gotta give her some shine. Now let's hear the freaking joke. Let's go.
All right.
Yeah.
I just got a simple question. Where do hippos go to study medicine?
Hippocampus.
Oh my freaking! He got it.
We in here.
He got
We
it.
finally
The
cracked your code,
hippocampus.
bitch boy.
We did it. We did
It
it.
only took 77 episodes. Nah, subtract however many I haven't been here, but
Just about, yeah.
68 episodes.
there you
Honestly.
go.
My man David with a sniper rifle, just absolutely doming shots.
I think I probably got that because that's how I was taught to remember it, like a
Running
hippo
the
going to
arena.
campus. So yeah,
Dang.
Dang.
yeah, that's good. That's good.
Good
That's
gracious.
classic.
All right.
Well, let's hear.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just hear the fact right after that, man.
The fact is that the MMR vaccine is a vaccine against measles, mumps, and rubella. The first dose is generally given to children within their first year of life, and the second dose about at least 4 weeks after that. After 2 doses, 97% of people are protected against measles, 88% against mumps, which we see in one of the first couple episodes of this season, and 97% against rubella. Measles resulted in 2.6 million deaths per year before immunization became common. This has decreased to only 122,000 deaths per year as of 2012, mostly in low-income and therefore vaccine-unavailable countries. And between 2000 and 2016, vaccination decreased measles deaths by about 84% or more. So,
Wow.
Vaccines work. It's just the fact of the matter.
But I'm anti-vax.
Get off
As
the
my fucking microphone
podcast.
falls. Yo, so I'm recording. So this is gonna come out before or after the variety episode, but I'm recording on a fucking board game, so apologies.
And so, as
On a
a
board game.
as
What
a-
game is it? Risk?
It's Battleship. I literally will show you right now.
Dang, there you
as
go.
a part 2 to that fact and a reference to my name about I like good bacteria. This season was centered a lot around gut health and how that affects immune health and stuff like that. And I have had my own struggles with IBS and stuff like that and gut health. So it was interesting to me, especially because one of the episodes is named after H. pylori, and that's a test I had to do to see if I had that to rule it out for the stuff I was going through. And so when I was doing that, my gastro recommended that I start taking probiotics. So that's a probiotic right there. That little thing, that little teeny tiny pill that I'm holding up to the camera if you're on video. And that contains 1.75 billion good bacteria.
Dang.
In that little tiny pill. So that's they say 37 trillion cells in the body in the show about that. So, but got 1.75 bill little homies in the capsule helping out my gut health. So
That's much
thanks, boys.
right there.
That's cool and all. But who the fuck are you, man? 2 traditions? Nah, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Word.
Dang. Well,
I'm regulating the amount of cuck that you just brought.
Flexing on y'all.
yeah. Get
Hey,
the regulator.
see me in the
here.
ring, Alex. See me in the ring.
Get the regulator in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, what would that look like for you, Alex? If you had to personify your regulator, would that be a nice little sledgehammer?
Dang.
Oh, my boy, big lagging.
More like maybe some boxing gloves. Am I
Oh,
lagging?
A little
Yeah,
bit.
you-
there,
You're
yeah, you
done
can
now,
tell
I
that.
think. I think we're good.
I was
Anywho.
gonna say,
You got it out of your
Maybe-
system.
yeah, say maybe some boxing gloves. That's what it would look like. Just a
Bob
straight
Little
up
Mac
fist.
Main. Little Mac Main here for sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so.
Super
Put some
off
little
topic,
smack.
The boxing outfit in Fall Guys is cute as shit.
I seen it today.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it
cute as
is.
fuck.
Goodness.
Yeah, it's dope.
Nice.
So we got one more tradition, huh?
Yeah, my tradition is kind of weird this week because I could not find this track anywhere on its own for the freaking life of me. And it was just, it's part of the soundtrack. It is, I guess, the cancer theme when he shows up for real and sort of attacks them.
Yeah.
It was nothing crazy, but it's kind of a highlight. I think it was a good tone setter. It was very standard shonen, the villain has showed up now, but I think it really gave some oomph to it. And I think what was it, me or a few of us were just talking off pod about how music can do that for an anime, as opposed to a manga or whatever. So
Yep.
it was a good example of that for me in this show. So yeah.
I think that was
Dope.
our Parasite episode.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, for sure.
Certainly. All
So
right.
let's get
There we
into
go.
it. I guess we talk about the intro a little. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't watch the intro actually. Do we?
Yeah.
Well, I'd assume it's different for us, for half of us, because half of us watched it in dub and half of us watched it in sub.
Is it in English when you watch the dub?
Yeah.
Same.
Well, they're
as,
singing
okay,
it.
so that's the same as season 1 then. Yeah. So I watched on Crunchyroll, which only had the
Same.
sub available. So I honestly was seeking out the dub because I enjoyed it so much the first time, and it has a solid voice acting crew, like I talked about on last episode of this series. But I couldn't,
We flagged
get
this
to
and
it
watch
with
it together because I want to like talk about it, and I don't really remember it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Wait, so yeah,
we're gonna
so-
watch the
watch it and
intro,
come back.
and then we'll come right back. All right. So we just watched the
and the voice actors.
we just watched the intro in Japanese. So I still have yet to hear it in English. I believe David and Alex have heard it in English.
Mhm.
And Alex you said what about imagining it the other way?
What do you mean?
I'm just setting you up for the very basic sentence you just said.
I just want to hear the voice actors.
Yeah.
They sound, because I mean it's the voice actors singing it. I don't mind it in English. I like listening to their voices because I'm used to them. But I think both ways, it's a mediocre song. It's not like the first season, in my opinion, and it's very skippable for me.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much it's
Ourselves at work.
yeah. It's just like a worse version of the first one kind of, and it's it's cute or whatever. My favorite part is just hearing the English actors and like you know what every word is, but so it's kind of fun, but that's about it.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah,
I
I think it's a
yeah.
mediocre and forgetful song that it's basically begging to be skipped, honestly.
Yeah.
But I do like the splash page of the title at the very end, which sells at work. Kind of looks like a birthday cake. That's pretty much all I have to say about the song, honestly. Skip.
That's all I got as well. So there we go.
Yeah.
All right.
There we are.
Get
There we
into
go.
it.
And I didn't watch the outro, so we're not watching the outro.
I watched it probably once, maybe. Yeah.
I watched it a couple times. I think
Yeah.
like the last 30 seconds of it is just them zooming in on like the crowd picture of all of them saluting the camera. So it's
yeah.
I always
It's low
like the
effort.
outro.
It doesn't matter. It's not as adorable.
Yeah, the
Yeah, it's
outro
not
of the
close.
first season of I think it's Red Blood Cell just pushing the platelets in the cart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
It's
is.
so cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
For
All
sure.
right, I'm gonna have to put the cat in the bedroom real quick. Give me 1 second. Dude.
Is that a euphemism for something? Put the cat in the bedroom.
Jesus.
All right, man.
Back where it came from.
I'm not gonna
Well,
dignify that with a response.
He's not gonna dignify that with a response. But isn't that a response?
I think it is.
Damn.
And there, I found myself, my own red blood cells, having a swirl.
Jesus.
Having
okay.
a swirl. Trevor, do you currently
Yeah.
have any red blood cells leaving your body after doing battle with the cat for 10 minutes in an attempt to get it to leave the room you are inhabiting?
Yo, so I don't know if I talked about this in the variety episode that you saw earlier this week, but if you did, and if I did talk about it, I am currently at Rocio's house, and
Yeah.
she is babysitting a dog, and this dog is she's a puppy, and she's a beagle, not a beagle. Is it a beagle?
I don't know,
Fucking
dude.
breed
Why are you
name. I'm
asking
drunk.
that?
Sorry.
That's a type of dog, yeah.
If it's a type of dog,
That's a
it's
type
beagle.
of dog.
The Daily Beagle?
Damn.
But it's a mutt, so
Hey,
it's
that's
like
where
it's
Porter
a mix
Parker works.
of a couple different breeds, and we don't know what it is. But she's a super loving, sweet dog, very trusting, but she's very playful and she's very malicious when she plays. So she kind of wants to just rip the head off the cat. So we have been having to. The reason why I'm here is to, as a like T cell, regulate the body. So
Very good.
I basically been having to play guard between the cat and the fucking dog.
Very
As
nice.
You got
barbarian
your,
as that sounds.
You got your high heels and your office lady outfit on, and you're making sure one doesn't attack the other. I respect
Yeah,
it.
my shitty seltzer.
I
But
respect it.
That's what's up.
the cat like climbed under the couch that I'm currently sitting on, so I couldn't get her. So I put the dog in the crate, and then when I got out of that, she was back out. So I put her in the room, and then I got the dog out, and then I went pee, and then I came back out, and I was about to come back in the room to record, and then the cat just fucking swipes out of here. And if I didn't start screaming at it, they would have killed each other. And luckily, the puppy is very not used to running on tile, so she just fucking like kind of
Goodness.
klutzes all around, and the cat
What a
was able to
freaking
get away.
scene.
But
Well, that sounds
Dude, like-
like
it's ridiculous.
that sounds like utter chaos, just like the internals of the human body as it does battle with foreign pathogens day in day out. That was a very this season was a very immune cell centered season.
Mhm.
I guess first thoughts, comparisons. I don't know where we want to start exactly. I know we're not going episode by episode for a fact, but
Mhm.
we got 8 episodes to
It's a
to
shorter
work with.
season for sure.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wasn't disappointed, but I was. It's tough because, like, if you watch I think it's episode 37 when we talked about the first season. This is like 40 episodes.
Was it
ago.
that long ago?
Yeah.
I think it was in. I know it was in like February. I think it was early February.
Almost positive it's episode
Yeah,
37.
it was
But either
February.
way, we talked about what we want from this show, and obviously the manga was basically already written, and this anime was being produced, if not being issued by the time we were talking about the first season.
Yeah.
And we talked about what we wanted from the show, and we wanted, at least I remember, I wanted to see at least some interaction with the human body that they're inhabiting. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, I remember that. You were talking about if it was a Inside Out kind of a thing where you get to see the daily life they're living and see, the
But we
little
don't.
Susie scrapes her hand on the swing set and then like we have a battle with tetanus or something
Yeah,
like
like
that.
Osmosis Jones or something. But
Yeah,
it
exactly.
It doesn't happen that way. However, the reason why I wasn't disappointed was because it still took a turn that the first season doesn't do, which is when the normal cell comes into contact with the lactic acid bacterium. That's when the show kind of does its own thing, separate from season 2, where it's more oriented in protecting those bacteria, and that's where the story kind of like takes the turn from it being episodic to a more focused nature, which I appreciated from the show.
Yeah,
It's growth.
it was a hybrid of sorts where it was like we have this plot that's tracking, but it's not, necessarily the focal point of the episodes, but it's still important as it happens in those like back 4 episodes.
Well, I do remember. I did hear that the first episode was an anime original, so it didn't take place in the manga. They did their own thing.
Totally see that happening.
I'm not sure how many episodes are like that. I would be interested to read the manga for this show, because I could see it being interesting, whatever direction they took that in. But I gotta say, my boys, I was surprised. I'm surprised at how boring this season was for me, man. I gotta say, man, they took everything that the first season did well, and they kind of just didn't do it. Like, they did nothing innovative, at least for me. They like we said, the red blood cell. She took such a backseat in the season. I love red blood cell. I love seeing the dynamics between her and white blood cell, and we hardly got any of that. If it did, it took place
like the first 2 episodes, and then she took a back seat, and that's about it.
And even in the first 2 episodes, it's like, I don't know, man. I felt like a lot of the direction it was going in was predictable. They spent a lot of time focused on the good bacteria and the normal cell, messing with the good bacteria. When they only had 8 episodes worth of anime, I felt like they could have done so much more. There was a lot of potential, and I don't think they capitalized on it as well as I would have hoped.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm kind of with.
Go ahead, David. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I'm kind of with you. I feel like, they definitely try to do something a little new, like Trevor was saying, or, we all know that they took that different approach with making it more serialized and having that continuous plot. And they set up, Cancer coming back like a few episodes ahead of when he even shows up. So that was cool and stuff. But yeah, I just feel like they needed to do more, and just, especially if you're not going to have red blood cell and white blood cell as the focus, like, do some more creative stuff with the concept, because it kind of got stale for me with what they did. Even though I think I liked the back half maybe a little more, but we'll get into that, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. I like the back half more. I think they definitely like kind of encase or imprison themselves in this idea of that episodic, okay, we have this cast of characters and we're going to set them up against an enemy each half episode or episode, and that's going to be the whole thing. And I think a lot of the enjoyment of the first season was the originality of anthropomorphizing cells and having them be like, their own intelligent personalities and stuff like that. And they kind of just, at least for the first half, and I think all throughout, but yeah, just in general, like, they kind of tried to let that concept carry still, but as they were doing that, the nuance and the novelty of the way they wrote the show kind of started to wear off a lot. And I agree that I just got bored and it was predictable. And like, the way the show is written, there's no inherent risk. I think it would be kind of fucking crazy if they like killed off a character or something like that, and I could never see them actually doing it, because just like, it's supposed to be feel good, and I think in general it like started to lean towards, okay, there's no inherent risk of the battles, so we're going to lean towards comedy, but the comedy didn't carry hard enough for it to actually be, a comedy anime, and it was more still relying on the nuance of the show's concept in general, but like I said earlier, that started to wear off, so that's where I stand on it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I found myself laughing out loud a couple times, especially when they would draw the normal cell as like All Might without the features, and he would just be like super surprised that someone's kicking his door in, or like that he's saving this.
Oh yeah, they had
those
they
few
had a
parts
couple
were-
of really really good moments where they do extremely detailed face animation where they're like horrified or surprised or stuff like that. Those were good comical moments. There were knee jerk stuff where it was like, that's good, I'm laughing, but it was, yeah, I still stand by what I said.
Yeah, no, it definitely
Oh
is.
boy, just stepped on my fucking point, my G.
Huh. Yeah.
You just finished my set. What you doing, bro?
What do you mean?
You literally just finished what I was saying. You're like, oh yeah, like, come on, bro.
Oh, what else were you gonna say?
That's literally what I was gonna say.
Oh,
I
okay.
said what do you, oh well, I thought you were finished. That's my bad.
Not at all, but it's alright.
All right.
Dang.
That's my bad. I thought you took a
What you
pause.
saying, David?
Yeah, no, I was just agreeing. I feel like it is pretty funny, but it's just not like they could go full comedy with it, especially if it's going to be episodic, and it could be cool. But they don't really go that far with it either. It's kind of just, I don't know. It's a weird balance where they don't. I feel like they need to lean into one aspect and do that really well to make the show better, and they just kind of are in the middle of a few different ones. But.
Yeah, it feel like they kind of flip flop between going full comedy and sometimes the joke would land, and then they cycled back to especially the cancer episodes where they try really hard in the animation and make a lot of the stills look super cool and flashy, and try to make it a whole combat thing. But it gets like, I realize this as I watch more and more shows, is like the stakes being high is a lot of the time what makes me enjoy a show, which is why, AOT, they're fighting for the survival of the world, My Hero, they're fighting for like the survival of society, like all this stuff like is like big high stakes, like life or death stuff. And in the context of the show, it's really hard to care about singular characters when the entire concept is that there's 37 trillion of them in total.
Is that really why you enjoy My Hero, though?
No, it's not the singular reason, but it's part of it.
That's not even close to why I enjoy that show.
No, I'm saying no. Sorry if I was unclear. I'm saying that like in terms of
You
like
said the stakes being high is like a good factor for why you enjoy the show, right?
yeah. A good factor, not
like-
the only one I consider.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of action just tends to lean on, oh, the world's at risk. It's just really exhausting. Like every fucking like modern action movie has to be, it's like overtopping itself. It's like the Fast and Furious shit all over again, where they have to constantly, oh, what can we endanger this time? And like, I don't know, that like shows need to do much more than that for me to be interested. I don't give a shit about the stakes half the time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
There's only so many times where you can endanger the earth.
I don't
and me
think
give a shit about it.
I don't think we're disagreeing. I realized, I think when I was watching Haikyuu, which is the volleyball anime, where it was like, the intensity of the scene for me affects me more when it's actual like full on consequences versus, just like high school sports are different from the the fate of the earth, right? Where like the the ability to put yourself in the shoes of the protagonist and feel their emotion and their understanding of how everything's going down and the pressure that's on them and everything like that, and their ability to perform in that scenario is like, maybe that's not the case for everyone. Maybe I'm just putting that emotion on, and maybe that increases only my enjoyment of shows like that, and maybe it's a hindrance in shows like this. But it's the way I watch TV shows, and I like it that way. So that's all I got.
Yeah, I feel you in terms of, I mean, MHA isn't a super high stakes show for me, but it's like something could happen. Like certain characters do have consequences happen to them, and whereas Cells at Work is kind of like not like the body's probably not going to die. Neither are any of the cells really.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's it. It doesn't matter really, or to me at least, it doesn't matter if it's a giant like the world ending or if it's a sports game. It's just I have to believe that there could be failure, someone could lose something, or like the plot could change in this way or that. Yeah, I mean that's definitely not in this show for me, but I don't know. Do you guys the first half of it, it's kind of more of a repeat of the first season, I guess, right? And were you guys enjoying that?
It's like the first 3 episodes are basically B-sides of season 1.
Yeah.
If you wanted to put it that way.
One
of them is just like they're at a hair pour and they're having to save that or whatever, and it just they pick a random spot in the body they haven't done yet for an episode, and they just center an enemy around it that they can introduce a new bacterium, and they just extinguish it, and that's about it for the first 3 episodes.
I think it's like the first season was like a fresh piece of bread, and it was enjoyable. It was refreshing to see as a different sense of the anime. And now for season 2, I'm coming to realize that this bread is now stale. When they bringing me the same kind of things, like he said, it's a side B. I can't imagine watching this as it's coming out, because it did come out recently, but I wasn't keeping up with it episode by episode. But like, if I was watching it episode by episode, I could see myself being like, when is it gonna get like what is it I'm waiting to see? When is it gonna get to like going from to the next level? I think I found myself having to force myself to watch it, and I'm disappointed that I had to like be like, all right, I gotta watch another episode. I gotta watch another episode.
Because
was it really that much of a chore for you?
A little bit. I mean, not that. I mean, it was short, so there was that. But like, I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't vibing with it.
The show has its intrinsic value in its educational purpose, which I think is really, really cool, because they show a lot of these things which are, only accessible in terms of like textbook diagram or whatever, in high school or whatever, in terms of like very understandable, very more, because of the anthropomorphization, they have like these far more understandable interactions between microbes and tiny life forms as we understand them. And so that is cool in and of itself, but I can only like let that carry the show for so long. And then it sort of, I think, leans that way, and the comedy way, and the character way, and the combat way, all at the same time, that I think it spreads itself too thin. I think if it picked a direction, maybe mostly comedy, then it could really land on its own 2 feet. But I'm a critic, right? The life is a critic is easy, as Ratatouille says. Risk very little. But it's I think it falls flat largely, but I do have positive aspects. So whenever we swing around to that, I would like to highlight a couple things.
Yeah, I can pretty much just echo it. I mean, I was watching, like, the first half wasn't all bad or anything, and I did actually like the acne episode and stuff, and I just started to realize, like, oh, okay, this is like, it just reminded me of a Saturday morning cartoon, or just like any number of American cartoons I've seen where they just do, have a fun little episodic thing, and it's a cool concept that hasn't been done very much. So has that positive to it. But I think, maybe I just wasn't in the vibe for that, or, I had to watch them kind of quickly. So I think maybe for me, it would have been better weekly, because binging it is just like, there's no thread to keep me like, keep like
very
pulling
minimal
out.
variation. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but in that aspect, I was like, okay, I can appreciate that this is what it is, but it's cool with that. It has funny stuff. It has cute stuff. It educates you and stuff, and stuff looks pretty good and all that. And I like the voice acting, but if it's for that first half when it's just doing that, I'm not too interested in it. It was a bit of a chore.
Ironically, I've watched the first 3 episodes. Like, I think I watched an episode a day, and then we changed our scheduling, so I only had to watch this season for this week. And I watched the first 3, and then today I watched 5 episodes. And it's ironic that the first 3 episodes tend to be that episodic, season nature or whatever, and then the last 5 or so kind of carry that story of the good bacterium and the cancer cell and all that.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was a chore at all. Actually, granted, it didn't go in the direction I wanted. It was only 8 episodes. I wasn't mad at it at all. And it was still enjoyable for me, honestly. Like, I know that we're being really harsh on it, and for good reason. It's a great episode, or it's a great show. It's a great concept. It's very unique in that sense. And I wished it did do more, but I did still enjoy it. I usually feel fatigue after watching a couple episodes back to back, and this one was just like, I want to see what happens. I like these characters. I like where it's going. It did something different, for me at least. So I don't know. I guess we can get in the positive.
Yeah,
I didn't.
That's cool. Yeah, that's a good transition into that.
Yeah, fuck that. When the dendritic cell gets activated and starts spewing the blackmail.
Yeah, homie puts on his.
That was when I started laughing out loud. I'm like,
homie
this
puts
is
on
fucking
his.
funny, dude.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you. My bad.
No, it's fine. It's just that shit is hilarious when he starts feeding the little lactic acid cell the little cookie, and it starts producing the polysaccharides and activates him, and then he starts going, "Oh, like, you guys got to see your pictures now. Like, y'all got to fight this shit up."
It was a they usually like to stick as true in terms of like logic to how the allegory or the metaphor, whatever you want to call it, I think it's allegory is most accurate, as to how that applies to the cells. And in this one, they just went fucking buck wild, where it was like, oh, the activation of the dendritic cell causes the activation of all these immune cells. And they took the artistic liberty of saying that the activation is the dendritic cell massively blackmailing every other cell in the body. And just like printing fucking blackmail photos. It was hilarious in and of itself.
I don't know if I could consider that blackmail, because he just dumps all the photos into the street. It's not blackmail.
Right.
That's just exposing everyone at that point. That's not blackmail.
It was anime magic, where like the blackmail photos land only in front of the people that they expose, and so they were able to like get it and like put it away and be activated by it all in one step. It's like, you turn your brain off for that one, but it's.
I will say, when he flicks that fucking card, though, and it lands in front of the NK cell,
and it's the fucking maid outfit.
Yeah, she's like, "Y'all gotta kill everyone that's on that shit."
That shit was hilarious. That was good. I think the whole transition of freaking the dendritic cell, he like slaps on the Elton John glasses, the fucking rainbow sparkly like sunglasses,
and develops a split or a lisp,
and has a whole he has a whole like outfit he puts on and everything, and he's like, I'm here to perform and all that. Like, I don't know if they were really going for Elton John, but that like immediately reminded me of that, just from from I think Rocket Man is the movie about him, and then then also Kingsman 2. Which, if you haven't seen, go watch it.
Spoilers.
Dang.
Elton John's a homie in that.
Spoilers.
Wow.
Bro, like, saying Elton John is in Kingsman 2, if you did not know that, is more of an encouragement and not a spoiler at all.
I think it's both. But
I mean, there's no. I
don't want to hear about Kingsman 2, guys.
You have no concept about how he comes into the story.
I'm glad.
Anywho,
I'm glad.
It's good stuff.
I
It
am
was a
glad.
good episode. I like that bit a lot. That was one of their
Mm-hmm.
better comedy bits in my opinion.
That is the best comedy bit.
I will say I think the main positive for me is the white blood cell. I really enjoy his character. He was in it a good majority of the show.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I don't watch the Japanese sub for this, but in English dub, I really do like his voice acting.
Mhm.
It matches the character pretty well. I really enjoy his character design. I did in the first half. I like it in the second half. He's very dedicated to, killing these germs, and he's always a pleasure to see for me on the screen. I think he's a highlight. Like I said, if they couldn't get the red blood cell in there as much, but I'm glad that he was in it as much as he was.
Yeah.
I agree. This is one of the very few times that you will hear me on this podcast say that I wish that I watched this in dub and not sub. Because when I first
Aw.
watched the show, I watched this in dub, and they only have the dub, I want to say, on Funimation, and I only have Crunchyroll because I'm a broke boy.
Dang.
So I got to watch it in sub, unfortunately. But
Alex.
yeah,
Mm.
Yeah.
Alex saying wah. Freaking.
I mean, yeah, the
Where's
dub
our
is pretty
audio,
darn
bro?
good.
That's too deadly.
it's
Yeah,
cool.
it's,
It's got the usual suspects in the every dub anime like after 2017, but it's still a pretty good performance by
Which-
I'm not terribly
Yeah.
in love with the Japanese voice acting cast like I am for a lot of the shows we've
It
covered
kind of falls
in
flat.
general.
It kind of falls flat, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of depth in terms of like range of emotion and stuff. It's either like chilling or we're fighting.
Not only that, but like when they start explaining everything that's happening in the body, it's a little more difficult to process everything that they're throwing at you because you have to read it and they're not telling you in a language that you can understand.
Yeah,
So it's
Agreed.
it honestly takes away from the show because you're just having to keep up with
Mhm.
reading everything, and you're just like they're throwing you all these like Latin names for these bacteria and these cells, and it's all like,
Mhm.
how is this gonna sound when I read it in my voice? And like I can't fucking read this quick, and now I completely miss what the cell does. So
Yeah,
that's a definite drawback for me in terms of sub.
yeah.
versus
That
dub.
was a thought I had while watching it, that a lot of these terminology that I'm being presented with kind of brings me back to some anatomy classes and all those
It's-
medical stuff. So in that way, I could see that.
It's definitely something I respect about the show where they dumb nothing down. Like it's
Yep.
they're using the proper names for literally everything. They're never gonna like say anything casual or like skirt around it because it may be too long or complicated of a word. They just roll with it, and I respect that for sure. Because it's like if you're gonna make a show about the human body, like actually use all the right terms.
Yeah,
which
you
they
can't
do.
you can't dumb it
So
down.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
far too
definitely.
complex to dumb down.
I'm definitely glad they didn't do some weird shit there and try to only handle the easy stuff or call things by their nickname. They really just go for it fully with the full scientific names of everything. So
Which is funny that you say that because they do use nicknames, but they also just say also known as, and then they do the entire Latin name or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the 15 letters.
yeah, because there's
actually
which
called.
I should say in of my own statement that it's all, of course, because we're humans, we shorten things and for simplicity.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
those exist in nature and or in conversation, in scientific conversations. So they exist in the show, which is cool. It's a cool reflection of reality in that sense.
Another positive for me is I love when outside, like when they have foreign factors coming in the acquired immunity episode when he's getting the vaccine. It's just a needle that
mumps.
just comes through the sky. And
Yeah.
frick, and then it's like these viruses that are so weak, and then they're like, let's kill them. I love it when stuff like that happens. I recall in season 1 when they did it with the blood transfusion and just hit random blood cells. I love moments like that because they have no idea what the hell's going on, but they roll with it.
Yeah.
Y'all just caught a bit of lag.
You kind of lagged a little bit, but I understood everything you said. But
Yeah.
I totally
Agreed.
agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the vaccine needle coming through the sky is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
in
like, what the fuck is happening? And then they just start flicking the cells because they're so goddamn weak.
In
Yeah.
the, go ahead, David.
Oh, just yeah, I almost forgot about that episode. That was a great one. I think that the way they represented it was so simple, but so just very accurate to what vaccines do, and just like these super weak viruses, and they get the information, and it's cool. Yeah,
It was a little frustrating, but also a little hilarious. I think they do a good balance of it, where the memory cell is like, it's the end of the world. I've had a premonition, but it's also just his own memories. It's not like he's seeing the future, which is like a whole bit that they do, but it ends up being funny in the long run, I guess. Not terribly so, but it's entertaining to me, where they have the whole like, every time something happens, and especially like when the new flu comes in, he's like, it's the end of the world, and they show like the depiction of like the actual Earth like being impacted by a massive object and it exploding and shit like that. They have good visuals in the show for the metaphors they draw, at the very least.
Yeah, and I definitely enjoyed the influenza bit, because
the influenza fucking JoJo post.
They treat these nuances like so casually, where they're just like I think they introduced the idea of it mutating, and they call it like A, B, and C. So he uses his weapon, and it doesn't affect them because it's mutated, and they just become stronger. And I just love how they introduce such complex like biological events and turn it into a water gun fight that doesn't work, and then she gets a lightsaber and everything's okay. But it's really cool, honestly. It's super fucking cool.
It was actually kind of a cool combat moment when they're like, oh, it's influenza, it'll be easy, and he throws the knife, and the influenza cell like catches the knife,
and it's like throws it back at him.
It's like a classic anime bit where like you underestimate the power of your enemy, and they show you up, kind of a thing. Where that was like,
underestimate my power.
That was like a strength and a weakness of the season, I think, where a lot of the times they were leaning into that whole thing of like, oh, it's an anime, we can do whatever the fuck we want, and then a lot of the time it was like, oh, and it's an anime, they're doing whatever the fuck they want, where it just like it leaned into like the idea that every battle is epic, where like, and it worked in fractions and didn't in fractions, where it was like, the white blood cell is trapped against the cancer cell, and like his friends are fighting, and so you have this whole dynamic of like the fight is changed and works this certain way for this certain reason, and like, I don't know, it seemed like they were leaning into the idea of, we're an anime, we're gonna make this fight epic even beyond any sort of realism. Felt like it came into play a little bit too much, but maybe I'm wrong. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I think the show could maybe benefit from, because they always emphasize the fact that there's so many cells in the body, like 37 trillion or whatever. And when you see the cancer cell and he starts multiplicating, there's only one white blood cell, there's only one NK cell, there's only one memory T cell. So as much as they try to build up the grandiose events of these battles, it ends up being so small scale, and it also shoots itself in the foot, because it is only 8 episodes, and if you look at the titles, it kind of spoils it for you. It says Cancer Cell Part 1 and then Cancer Cell Part 2. So it's going to come to a resolution by the end of the season. It's not going to be some cliffhanger. It's not going to leave you on the rope. It could benefit from having some Attack on Titan size scale battles where there's more than one white blood cell that's going to carry the entire fight against this fucking multiplicative cancer cell that's going to swallow you whole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was, as you said that, I thought of Guardians of the Galaxy, where like at the end battle, like both sides suffer massive loss, and it's like you got like, the defense force and the attack force, and they're eviscerating each other, and that I think would be a really, really cool depiction of that kind of a fight versus the epic one white blood cell versus so many cancer cells and like all that stuff. And like the development of characters and making them do everything is valuable to a point, but I think more valuable would be exactly what you just said, is the idea of creating some sort of epic battle in which massive amounts of force go against one another.
Because
and
it's
then we
cancer.
never really get
this
that.
is like
Yeah,
this is like the end game of disease that we're talking about.
yeah.
And it just gets boiled down to one guy that can multiplicate, and it's like
Yeah.
it's cool.
Well,
Like, I mean, I
yeah.
don't know.
I'm glad we're getting into this because I do think I have strong feelings about it. I know David said earlier, I feel this way too. I do enjoy this half more than the first half, and by no means is it awful, but I do think they lean too hard into the season one development of cancer, whereas in season one, I remember we were saying how wow, they really gave cancer some development. Like you feel bad for
Some
him because
sympathy. Yeah.
his whole thing was I'm a cell just like you all, and how like what makes me different, but he's still cancer. I felt like they took a lot of this. They leaned into that too much, remembering that, and they took a lot of the soul out of his character for me in that aspect.
Yeah.
I think.
Uh,
I think. Are you finished or go
yeah,
ahead?
I'm finished.
Okay. Yeah. I think they did. With all that being said, I agree with you for the most part. I think they did a good job of turning him into a proper anime villain of like with a destructive philosophy, where his whole thing is like, in the first season especially, it's like, what more do you have to live than I do? Like I came from the same body you do. Why do I have to die and you get to live? And the eventual solution is because you'll kill the body. And so in this season, he comes back and has this whole, villain monologue moment, as any good anime does, with the idea that, I realize I'm going to kill the body, but wouldn't it be like, what's more important, the life of the cell or the life of the body? And his idea is the life of the cell. And so it's like, even for that brief moment before death, like sure we will all perish, but knowing that we were free for that moment before death will be worth it. And so they have that interesting philosophy, and it's like, props to them for really making it like an actual sort of like life or death, serious scenario where if you're going to anthropomorphize the thing, at least give it, a proper psychology and philosophy for why it's doing what it's doing. And they do achieve that properly. And so I got to say, good for them.
Yeah, I mean, in this arc of development, I would say they established the fact that there's a chance that Cancer Cell is back, but it's missing a lot of the impact. In season one, when Cancer was introduced, it kind of hit hard, where it was like, you don't know what's going on. He's a normal cell. He's playing games, and then you realize the whole sector is turning into cancer cells left and right. And this he just the way he just kind of multiplicates, like Trevor's saying, he just kind of comes out of nowhere rather than converting all these normal cells into
it was very like 1v1 me, bro. Like meet me on Rust.
Yeah.
Also, that regulatory T cell, man. Let me just say, I know that's an actual cell and that's her job.
Your
but
namesake.
she literally contradicts herself because she's talking about how, oh, you can't touch him. I'm not gonna let any cells fight other cells. But she literally lets the cancer cell pound the freaking memory T cell into the ground. I'm like, what are you doing?
I would be remiss if I didn't agree with you, because I also had the same thought when she was just smacking him around, and I'm like, are you kind of crossing your own beliefs here?
Yeah.
Not only that, but you're also beating the shit out of another cell too. Like, don't you have other pacifist ways to prevent cells from fighting with each other? I don't know.
Go ahead, David.
Okay, yeah, it was with her. It was like I had a bit of a moment where I was like, I think the show. It's like the show could be better by, incorporating the essential parts of the cell, but then having each character kind of, because it's only really interesting if they act somewhat like a human, and obviously that's what the show's doing. So, okay, they act like a human for the most part, and White Blood Cell is a cool guy and whatever. But then she comes in, and it's like there's no human aspect to why she's acting that way. It doesn't make any sense. Like when you're looking at it on screen, it's just the function of the cell, and you get that, but they don't really represent it well. So it's like, they could have had something where cancer is as it's pulling, like, you see how he could have deceived the regulatory T cells and how he's flying under the radar, and like, oh wow, okay. And it also makes sense for her character, but they just didn't really incorporate that.
Right.
Right, because then it's like
the way
it's
they
like he
incorporate it was like, oh, he spelled his name wrong on his.
no, he gets a chunk cut off. He's like, this is not a cell, this is an L.
Yeah, he just gets
CLL.
a blood stain
What,
on
the
his shirt.
CLL?
Yeah,
Yeah.
CLL. Yeah,
I actually agree with you, David. Yeah,
it's what we talked about. Main flaw in the first season was when the metaphor falls apart, but they just keep on running with it. And it happens, and exactly. You can only be so perfect when you're anthropomorphizing like the entire like minute entities of human life. Like, you can only be so perfect. So to maintain the integrity of it being a show and it making sense in and of itself, you kind of have to abandon the realistic metaphor, which is, we have to accept that to a degree, but it ends up being a flaw in the show, more or less, eventually.
I think I do keep that in mind, and one of the highlights in this scene for me is when Memory T Cell. I do have mixed feelings when the Memory T Cell, he uses his Pepperin punch or whatever, because that looks dope when he does it.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I forgot about that.
It looks dope when he does it, and it's drawn very well. I'll give it that. But where I'm mixed on is like that just ends the whole fight.
Yo,
and
homie,
it just led up to this one punch.
The one punch shit really fucked me up, and that's why I'm kind of clinging on to that idea of an epic battle, because I was really disappointed in the fact that he just said, "Hey yo, Rasengan," and that was it. It was done. It was over.
He used
kabang, ding dong, kapow.
He used cursed energy, dude. He used Black Flash. He hit him with the one time.
And Trevor, when I was watching it, as I was watching it, I was formulating ideas on what I think could happen or how I could see it coming. And as Trevor said, cancer is something that a lot of the times the body can't fight on its own. It can try, but it can't. And so I think for us to see cells successfully eradicate cancer, not once, but twice in the show, kind of does it injustice for me. I would have loved, in my head, this is what I was imagining, I would have loved to watch everybody getting destroyed by cancer, and like you think they're about to lose, and then just imagine a big freaking scalpel comes through the sky and just cuts out the tumor and just takes it out. Like that would have been that would have been funny to me. I don't know if
fire. That would have
because it makes sense, because it's like
the only like flaw in that plan would be that it would follow the same suit as the season 1 finale, where you get the fusion. So it's like an invasion of another human.
That's true.
Yeah, but of course,
imposing its own will.
But of course,
that's true. But
medical intervention is one of the most massive things that means that our lifespan is what it is. Like our ability to survive is our ability to fuck with the human body as we please. Like I'm fully on board with you, Alex, where I was hoping, not expecting, but at least hoping that there was going to be some sort of like surgery or like chemotherapy or something that was going to come through, where it was like some sort of exterior human intervention that was going to be like the miracle yet again, that is, because I liked that when they did that, where it was like normal human interaction and normal like whatever something you could get in any first world hospital is what saved their lives. And so the idea of doing that again and saying, fuck cancer, obligatory fuck cancer, and saying, we're going to handle that with either surgery or chemotherapy or whatever they decided to go with, would have been really cool. And like you said, it's I don't know nearly enough about cancer and about everything to say that it's exceedingly rare. I don't know about how often cancer occurs naturally in the human body, and that how often we fight it off in and of ourselves. But they had the opportunity. I think they kind of did it with that it grew wings. I thought it was going to go malignant there and like spread to different parts of the body, and it was going to be some whole epic chase and like all that sort of stuff. And then the chemotherapy would come in or whatever would come in, and it would be a whole fight, and like they would make a good point. But it just did the whole epic anime fight thing, which I can't really fault it for necessarily, but I think it's wasted potential still.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I was thinking the same thing. Like, okay, have intervention, and two, it kind of could have tied in with what Trevor wanted, because if they show the human aspect, it would almost you could build up the humans, finding out about cancer and maybe performing surgery at the same time the cells are doing their best to fight it off. So it's almost like you
Yeah,
see a joint effort between the body and the doctors or something. That would be kind of
for
cool.
sure. Yeah.
Yep. I'm
But-
still holding hope that sometime down the road, man, they incorporate a sort of slice of life where they show the human body, or they show the human that everything is under.
Mm.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Code Black is supposed to be like a total 180 from what we're watching currently, so I have no idea what to expect. Honestly, I haven't read too much about it.
Yeah.
But the reason why we split these into, obviously, well, one being time constraints to watch the show, but two being the two shows are tonally completely different from each other from what I've read. I haven't watched a damn minute of it, but I
Mhm.
hope it goes in a different direction.
Yeah,
That's all
for
I'm hoping
sure.
for.
Definitely what I was
Yeah.
hoping.
Yeah.
My biggest hope. Yeah.
I'm very interested.
And it's a totally different cast, so
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
see.
I'm interested for sure. Yeah. I mean,
That's all I really have on the season. Honestly, it's pretty short.
Yeah.
Definitely- Go
I
ahead.
think beforehand I was really interested in watching both. Now I'm cautious. I'm still hyped to watch Code Black. I'm kind of going into it cautiously. I know it's different, and I'm very curious to see. But I hope that they come hard.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I really am, because it has like a very moody, negative tone on it, especially being named Code Black.
mhm.
So the
Mhm.
stakes are higher, as we were talking about earlier. But
Yeah.
I'm excited. For the
that
show,
definitely could be
honestly.
cool.
I like this. I like this universe.
Yeah.
I definitely enjoy it. I don't want to seem like I'm hating on it a lot, but
Yeah, no, everything that we have said in this episode is pretty much valid criticism. Honestly,
Mhm.
I don't think there's been an ounce of it that I didn't really agree with. Honestly.
Alright,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Because I think the season was kind of thankfully short for me. Which I mean, by the end, I was enjoying what I was seeing, so I wasn't like begging for the end, because again, the second half was definitely cool, and I liked the fight scene, but I was like, all right, they did it. I really wouldn't want too much more of the same thing. So yeah, for sure, if Code Black is different, that'll be a thankful thing, because it is definitely some more wasted potential if they just go, okay, monster of the week, but it's
Yeah.
nicotine and they're smoking.
Dude, I really hope it's not, man.
Yeah,
Ah,
for sure.
Nicotine.
we'll
I mean,
see in a week.
Addiction
Yeah.
would be a cool episode, but
Yeah, do it in a
That would be
it would
interesting because over time, I mean, you have problems with lungs and your blood cells, and that stuff's be running. That would be interesting to see, like the chaos that comes with that inside your body.
Yeah.
We got that sort of view in the whole intestinal episode where it's like, oh, the body's not getting the right nutrients, and now it's smoky in here because the bacteria is coming in. Like that's cool. That'd be interesting to see on a higher scale for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is very cool. There are multiple realistic ways for the body to work against itself. I'm almost afraid that they're gonna do something like leukemia, in which white blood cells fight themselves and stuff like that. Like that's I think, to my knowledge, the most extreme version of the body fighting against itself internally.
Any autoimmune disease,
but addiction, of
multiple
course,
sclerosis,
things like that. It's the thing I do like about this show is the zombie apocalypse happens daily, and that's daily life, and that's just what they deal with. They normalize it in a weird way, in an interesting way. It's kind of cool. The idea that the flu is weak, and the variants are crazy, like all that shit. The recurring bits that worked for me that will never stop working on me. The platelets are so fucking adorable, man. They're too cute. I think the first episode of the whole season was platelet centered, and it was backwards cap, right, where she's carrying double the amount of coagulation factors and whatever, and they have the Shisho, the master, who's whoever works best gets a gold medal, and they all get gold medals.
Gold medals.
They're all so happy and fucking adorable. It's so good.
That was a lot of fun.
It's like, damn. Yeah, it's so cute. And then, just the idea that the macrophages present in, perfectly clean white dresses, and they have like egregious, ridiculous medieval weaponry, where it's just like they have the most over the top freaking weaponry in the land. And there's that one little bit where the cell is still trying to protect the good bacteria, the little, like, the tiny little ones that are going nyo 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 nyo, which got old after a while, but it was cute for a little bit.
Wow.
But
Disagree.
it got old after a while, but it was cute for the majority. I'd say 80% of their screen time they were cute for me, but every once in a while I was like, all right, let's chill.
Yeah.
But anywho, he's protecting that one little bacterium still, and they're like, can we help you with something? And they're just like covered in blood and viscera, and like they're just like clearly the most disgusting things on earth, and it's great.
Yeah.
So they have those strong bits that I enjoy, and I still like Trevor said, they have those laugh out loud sort of moments that I can't discount. So yeah, that's all I got.
We're getting into final thoughts, eh?
I think so.
Yeah, so I guess since I'm talking, I'll throw it to myself and just say I definitely, I can still say I got something out of this. Definitely funny moments, like you guys were saying, laugh out loud. Cool concept. Continuing, but got stale for sure. Really hope they do something different, or maybe Code Black will be that something different. As much as I want to enjoy the show, I can't ignore the fact that a lot of it felt like a chore to watch, but still, cool stuff. Cool second half. I definitely think it's solid. I do really enjoy a lot of the characters, so I give it a 6. But
I don't usually do this, but like after I was watching the show, I wanted to see if I'm the only one that feels the way I feel, or if I'm crazy for it or whatever. So I went on my anime list. I come to find out that season 1 on it is a 7.6, and season 2 is right behind it at 7.3, which I don't really get at all. And then there was a discussion thread for like the last episode, and there's a poll on there where it's like rate this episode 1 through 5, and 70% of it was 5 out of 5. And I'm like, but like everybody's just gushing over it, and nobody really had any constructiveness to it. So I was like,
I forget the name of the bias that is in statistics, but it's the sort of, the people who bother are the people who are most likely to say something good, right?
That's true.
Yeah. So
that's true, but also, I mean, I guess because I was going on it to see if, I mean, I didn't gush over it, and I wanted to see how people were feeling. So I get that too, but I don't know, man. There was a lot of, it's solid, it's cool, it's there. I didn't enjoy it as much as the first season. I thought there was a lot they could have done with it. I'm still hopeful for it for season 3. I'm hyped for Code Black. I want to see where they go with it. I do enjoy the universe a lot. Would like to see more Red Blood Cell, but not every show's up there at 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. I gotta give it a 4 out of 10, brothers.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's where it's at for
less
me.
than average,
I'm surprised at myself, because I really do like the universe, and I like the concept a lot, but it's gotta come hard, man.
I get you. Yeah.
Trevor, you want to go, or should I go?
I usually go last, so you can go.
All right, I'll head up. I think it's there, as Alex said, is kind of my feelings in general. They had a few clean cuts, props to the animators for the cancer episode, the final one, especially the scene of red or white blood cell neutrophil slicing the cancer in finality was nice. It was cool. So props to the animators. It's good art. It's well done. It's well designed. But it's also expected to a degree. So I think I'll sit at a 5.5 for this. Honestly, it's you know, it's not doing anything crazy for me. Had it's solid, couple solid laugh moments and things like that, but I think it being it lasted longer than I wanted it to, and that's rare for me. So, but I didn't dislike it in and of itself. So I can't go below a 5, and I definitely enjoyed my time with it enough to go above a 5. So I'll say 5.5. That's about it.
All right. Yeah, I'm right about where David's at. I give it the cells at work 2 exclamation points, 6.5 out of 10. I was not mad at it at all. I think the only disappointment that comes was just didn't really take me too far where I wanted it to be, but it still had its little, twists and turns. I enjoyed the different direction that it did. It kind of abandoned the idea of it being episodic and kind of followed us in the storyline after the 3rd episode, which I really appreciated. But it played it safe a lot, and my score reflects that as so. But it wasn't a chore to watch at all. I still fully enjoyed this. Me watching 5 episodes in one day, that's usually out of my comfort zone per se.
I'm happy
But
for you for that.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it for what it was, man. I really did. I don't regret a single moment of watching this, and I would still recommend anyone that watched the first season to watch this, just because it's still enjoyable. It's not bottom tier by any means. It just kind of falls flat on its own bar that it sets, which is kind of an accolade in and of itself. But yeah, I enjoyed the episode or the season, and I'm actually very excited to watch Code Black. So next week we will be
Very
recording our
cool.
Code Black episode. I'm excited.
Very cool. Yeah, I look forward to that, everybody, and thank you for listening. We hope you're giving us your thoughts on this, if you so choose, or your thoughts on our podcasting or whatever we're doing. So, not too much to say, really. Definitely got to be some solid ones, some bad ones, some good ones, some god tier ones, whatever, man. It's cool to have a range of it, and I still enjoy sales at work. So it has been real, everybody. Thank you for listening and or watching. Yes.
Yep. Shout out to you if you made it to this point in the podcast. Thank you for listening. I will say, if you're an avid fan of Cells at Work and you really enjoy it, or if you really didn't like it, let us know. We'd love to hear your thoughts. We'd also love to hear maybe you want to give us an anime recommendation, and maybe we'll do a review on it. So by all means, leave that for us.
Yeah.
By all means, leave it for us. So thank you for everything, and I love you all.
So my boy Alex just said shout out to you if you made it this far in the figurative, emotional, supportive sense, but literally shout out to you if you leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We will definitely read that out and read whatever you want us to refer to you as in that readout. So, if you're enjoying the podcast, obviously leave us whatever you think we deserve. We'll read it out if I decide I like it in general. So, yeah, that's that. Follow us on Spotify, all that good stuff. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Unboxing Life Pod and at r/Unboxing Life Podcast. Also, you got those YouTube comments, like, dislike, all that good stuff. Wherever you are, just let us know. Just hit us up. Let us know what you feel. That's all we want. We're simple people. We just want feedback as entertainers. True. And as you do that, I remind you to be kind to everyone you meet and stay safe.
Yeah. Be kind to everyone you meet. Be kind to all your cells. Drink water. Fine tune your diet.
Especially yourself.
If you find yourself shitting pebbles, you need to change something that you eat. Just very, very little things that you need to do. I recently learned that I have a intolerance for bananas, so we have to we have to adapt to our different diets as we age, and you just need to take care of yourself. We can live to see 90. It's possible. I promise you.
For sure. Help your mental health too.
Absolutely. Exercise regularly if you can. Even a couple push-ups here and there does a wonder for you. not only does it boost your metabolism, your appetite, it also allows you to sleep better at night. You know, I don't want to preach too much, but just exercise and take care of yourself.
Take care of those little guys in you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're so cute. You guys, you're all up in the message board saying how cute your platelets are, but you won't take care of them. So just take care of them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
But yeah.
they're working hard for you, so you should work hard for them.
absolutely, golden rule. Treat everybody how you wish to be treated.
Mhm.
Including
With that
your
out
little
of the way.
selves.
I'm excited for Co-Black. I'm glad that we did this, even if we didn't like it as much as season 1. I'm still glad. So, peace out, baby.